So I want to put something into perspective for myself and for all those out there that might be going through a lot because of the certain types of energies that are existing in this universe at the moment and the kind of things that are happening. Let me first share that with myself. It's been, for the last couple of weeks, it's been the deepest of healing of old programs that I've created for myself from when I was small, when I was a little lighty. And noticing that and being aware of it and having to go deep into it, into a space where it feels like you're completely consumed by an energy that you don't want to be consumed by, but there's nothing else to do and nowhere to run but other than inside that vortex of energy. And I think when I'm speaking to people around me and I'm speaking to certain individuals, it seems like people are going through the same thing. It seems like people are going through some deep cleansing, and I'm looking in the social media world at different conscious pages and whatnot, and it seems like that kind of energy is present on this universe or on this planet rather at the moment, and it might be intense. It might feel like fuck, like what the fuck, like when is it ever going to end? When are we ever going to let go of this stuff? When am I ever going to move forward onto the next step? When am I going to, expand, kind of thing? And I just wanted to create a little bit of perspective that's been shown very clearly to me over the past couple of weeks and over the past couple of days, especially over the full moon, being shown in clear daylight in front of me. And that has to do with the fact that a lot of the processing that we go through, or really all the processing that we go through, is a result of our own decisions to create certain types of responses and attitudes and belief systems and thoughts around certain parts of ourselves or certain things that we go through. What I mean by that is, since you were small, you were making decisions on how you're going to react to things, on what emotions you're going to hold in, on what emotions you're going to let out, on what thoughts you're going to have, on how you're going to react to certain situations. And that happens for your life every single moment, from when you wake up to when you go to bed. You're making these decisions and you're creating these worlds, and more than likely very unconsciously, and more than likely in a world and in a space that is not completely conducive to allowing you to freely be who you are, emotionally and mentally and just as a soul. Even if your parents had the best of intentions, it can still very much create something that still blocks you from being who you are. Parents aren't perfect. Not only that, at the societal level, through this generation and through this era, millennials, Generation X, etc., we are in a society that is misled, that is still very much dominated by insecurity and dominated by polarities, by idealists, by ideologies rather, by certain ideas where one group is easily separated from another just by sort of stereotypes and identification, and we do that quite easily. We easily judge people, and subconsciously that's all inside of us. Subconsciously we are all operating at a level that we don't really feel too safe at, and growing up in those kind of environments creates a world inside of you where you're not actually sure of who you are, because you never really gave yourself the chance to express and to embrace and to feel these emotions and feel these thoughts and have those thoughts and give yourself the space to experience those thoughts and feel safe enough to experience those thoughts, and as well as feel safe enough to talk to people about these thoughts. So this has been accumulating. You have been accumulating this perhaps resistance, perhaps you're creating a state that is really dark and has a lot of insecurity and pain in around it, and that's been happening since you were a child. You might not realize it, you might not be fully aware of it, but you really are carrying all the energy from when you were a child through all the way to right now, and the way you're reacting to certain things is all developed through your whole life. It's not necessarily anything that's too difficult to see, and you might not be fully aware of why the fuck am I going through all of this stuff. And I wanted to put into perspective that it's your whole life that you have been creating things maybe unconsciously, and in, or at least at a very lowered state of vibration, or very lowered thought state, you know, without thinking of I can do anything, and I deserve all the love in the world, all these thoughts. So you're thinking maybe a bit low, and you've been creating those states for yourself for so much time. And you know, now you're becoming aware, now you're becoming conscious, now you're starting to create a life for yourself, or you're starting to process and feel better about yourself and whatnot. And you see yourself slipping into those things, and you're wondering, wow, why is it happening to me? You know, why do I keep going back in there? And I can't tell you exactly why. I can tell you where it comes from. It obviously comes from the programmings of when you were a child and all the way through, probably past life things, but I'm not an expert there, so I can't say for definite, but you know, my belief is that. And when you put it into that perspective, that means we've got so much to go through in terms of depth, so much to go through in terms of learning and experiencing all that lower vibrational, not self-loving states, thoughts, emotions that we been addicted to, and that we've been creating, and that we thought this is the only way it can be done, you know, through this way. And as such, it creates a lot to work through. And although it might feel like you at the same place again, or you're spiraling around again, I like to always tell people that it works like a sort of staircase, a spiral staircase upwards, where yes, you know, we're circling around and it feels like we're at the same spot again, but we're just a little bit higher, you know, we're just a little bit more wise, we're just a little bit more experienced, a little bit more towards what we actually want to create for ourselves. For me personally, and what goes really deep is my insecurity of self and my love of self when it comes to a woman. And for the most time that I can remember, and having these visions inside of my third eye of when I was a child, where I put myself down all the time, and I got very angry and got very disappointed and sad, and put myself down whenever, you know, I saw my mom with another person, or whenever I even whenever any beautiful girl came around, I would put myself below her immediately. And that's been something that's been inside of my being, and I've been creating since the earliest memory I have is from when I was about like 4 years old. And it became so clear to me, and it made me realize, I was like, fuck, I'm in this state again where I am so deeply surrounded by my insecurity, so deeply surrounded by this state, by this vibration that I've created for myself, that damn, my thought process just fucking left me there. The main point here is that we have been creating this throughout our whole life. For me, it's been this insecurity of always seeing the feminine energy and certain types of feminine energy above me, or bringing myself down because of certain things. There's a timeline. Think about your whole life. That's what's been happening, and now you've got to process that, and it needs to come to the surface so that you can create something new, and you can start to believe to create something new, and you can also connect with it, see it, understand it, so that you can truly know here at the heart center that it's no longer what you want to create. That can be a painful process, but it's a necessary process. So just hold the faith, keep doing the work that you do with yourself, keep believing in yourself, just keep giving yourself the opportunity to experience, and believe that, you know, you're going to be creating something good for yourself, and that you're not going to be going through this shit forever, and that you're going to go through it now for your future self. Put it into perspective, a whole lifetime of stuff. Oh yeah, so much love.